I could see myself being one of them NPCs that just drops a bunch of lore and then dies.
You're in the back, like I'm
In the
running the front
story.
desk, you're in the back of the shop. If anyone ever has a question about like a specific quest I just gave them, they come talk to you, but as a consequence, you die immediately.
I immediately die every time, but the next time they come in the building, I'm just fine
You're
again.
just like, yeah, don't worry about it. This one comes back to life every now and then. Sing to me, Terpsichore, muse of dance, and tell me of Keralis and the void behind those eyes. Sing of the unknown and the dancing path it takes to get there. Welcome to FanDive. My name is Chaos.
Hello, I am Andy.
And today, we are not just talking about Keralis, but rather a very specific subset of fan fiction for him, the Eldritch Horror Keralis.
Yeah, this is a rather specific topic, but Keralis is amazing, and we wanted to talk about this.
I like the idea of going more into like niche topics. I can say this word this time. Isn't that beautiful? But
It is.
one of the things about Keralis is that there was this once upon a time this fan fiction published that it was called, oh, I opened it up. What is it called? Cephalophore by MawoftheMagnetar. It will be on our Tumblr, you know that. And it's this idea of what if Keralis wasn't 100% human like everyone thinks. And it kind of ends up growing into this whole series that dissects this idea of an Eldritch Horror and the unknown and the void and all the weirdness that applies to it. And I'm like, yeah, if you're ever going to attach that to a hermit, it's going to be Keralis.
I I would argue it doesn't have to be a specific hermit. I would argue it's a very Minecraft thing to make it very Eldritch. Because if you start thinking about the Minecraft lore as a whole, it's rather mind-boggling if you try to conceptualize many of these different things. But Keralis, with his wide eyes, the way he speaks, this kind of eerie presence at times, let me know, love Keralis. This is all praise.
Keralis is literally one of my
His kind of
favorites.
his kind of eerie presence at times. Um, People, or at least this one author, then many others went, wait a minute, I like this idea. When I think it would make sense if his just a little off of human is this void, this eldritch, this not quite right, just a little bit to the left.
This little bit
So,
unknown. Now, we will technically be talking spoilers for some of these fan fictions. Specifically, I want to talk about how the Eldritch Horror original series ended up explaining how Keralis got to Hermitcraft in the first place, because that's one of the key points in a lot of fan fictions that deal with characters' origins and their status as players. How did they get to where they are now? I believe it was this series. I might be wrong. Like you mentioned, there's a whole bunch. But it was this idea of like Keralis was some sort of unknown, void, godlike entity. And there was a cult and there was like sacrifice and yada, yada, yada. And Azuma Void showed up just at the tail end of it as Keralis entered into a human body. And Azuma had to be the one to teach Keralis what it meant to be a player.
see, in the one that I first think of, when I think about Eldritch Keralis, I think about it in a kind of different way. I don't remember the exact origins of how Keralis got to Hermitcraft in this one, but when he first encountered Exuma, he was like, this man, age-wise, compared to me, which, him, compared to him, is a child. Why is he a grown-up? What is this? What
Why
is this? I
is
should take
this
care of him.
infant who has been on this earth for a blip of time trying to tell me that they're the adults?
No, that's exactly what it was. That's exactly what it was. And he kind of adopted Hermitcraft as his, I believe they used the term like his preschool. Um,
Oh,
and it was these are my people. I protect them. I would kill anybody who does anything. And I remember a specific thing where it was, yeah, earlier this week I killed a bunch of people who tried to get to Shishwami. What? Keralis, no, there's paperwork. We've been over
there's
this.
so much paperwork involved. Now, I have to ask, do you like it when the Eldritch Horror is a known factor or unknown? Like, who outside of Keralis and maybe Azuma should know about it, in your opinion?
I actually like it when people know because I think it makes more sense, at least to my brain, when something is a little bit off. You don't necessarily know what is up with him, but like when you're around him, it feels like this static, like something's just not quite settled within you. So you couldn't pinpoint what's wrong, but clearly something's up with that guy. So I personally prefer the point of view of only like a few key people actually understand and even less comprehend, but everyone knows something's up with that guy.
Yeah, I think that's a really good way to put it. It's like no one's under the illusion that this guy is 100% human. Do they know what he is? No. But they're not going to ask because that's like a personal question.
Yeah, and part of the Eldritch thing is if you actually try to comprehend it, your mind will break.
Yeah, one of the difference between the Eldritch Horror and just a usual monster is a psychological aspect of it. A usual monster has a very physical form and it's very easy for the human brain to put into words and pictures and boxes. But when you start dealing with the Eldritch, it is something beyond that. It is literally defined by the inability for humans to comprehend.
Yeah, which is why I don't like a lot of people being like, yes, this is exactly what he is. I like, he is. End of sentence.
Yeah, this is one of the few moments where I'm like, do not give me fan art of this. I'm sorry, but it will never be correct. And I love fan art. I love fan art to the end of days, but never for Eldritch Horror.
It's like the commercials for scents. Like, no.
Yeah,
that's not how that works.
Girls frolicking through the field and laughing weirdly at each other, and it's perfume ad. I'm like, what? Huh?
It's that kind of concept, but you can't put it into a physical media as well for any Eldritch thing. But apparently, we're talking about Keralis specifically.
Yeah, specifically Keralis. And I think in the second series or the second fic of the Eldritch Horror Keralis, there was a moment where like somebody accidentally found out, and it started to break this character's mind until like Keralis had to step in and go, "I'm taking that memory from you. I'm so sorry, but this is hurting you."
No, I remember that actually. I remember that. He took a few people's, like, ooh, let's not comprehend me.
Let's not. And I think that adds, like, a really good moment of drama. It's like, maybe Keralis would want to tell people. Like, he is that kind of character who'd want to open up and be really friendly and be really open and honest and, like, yeah, midnight snacks on the couch and now we're all sharing deep-seated secrets. But you can't share that fundamental aspect of you. I think that has such good drama potential.
There is a particular version of this trope, this niche trope that I remember, which is that whenever he gets angry or too excited, he emits this like static feeling, all of your hairs stand on end.
Ooh, that sounds really cool.
And Exuma does not have the self-preservation instincts and pat Keralis on the back.
Oh no.
And disintegrated into nothing. His atoms were scattered across the universe.
Oh, whoopsie doodle.
And then Keralis put him back together, but was like panicked and like, oh no! I didn't know I could accidentally do that!
Oh, wait, and there...
that kind of thing.
I just realized, like, yeah, we can talk all day about, like, yeah, Keralis' videos, his big eyes, slightly off-putting, movements, whatever. Do you remember during Season 8 when, like, a couple hermits had just thrown themselves into space, and for whatever reason, Keralis just had, like, a gas and go shop in space?
I remember the animation of him floating in his underwear. How far we've come thing, and he's just, like, in space. What is he doing there?
Oh god, and it was Tango who was freaking out wearing like a full spacesuit, and his thing just got destroyed and he was struggling, and Keralis is just there chilling, not at all protected against the vacuum of space. Maybe that's where a lot of this comes from.
He is just fine in the middle of space. We're chilling.
He's living his best life out there.
I don't know actually where it originally came from. That sounds like a plausible idea, but it's just...
I think
some people just come up with an idea.
Eldritch Horror is an existing trope, and it's one that I've enjoyed for a while, but I think the whole, like, yes, Eldritch Horror in the concept of Keralis, it does come from that fanfiction series, but I've seen it used in, like, early Grian stuff, and I've seen it used in a lot of the Hermatrix concepts.
Yeah, well, like I said earlier, I do think that this kind of Eldritch depiction is a very Minecraft concept and a very Minecraft YouTube concept because when you look at this, these people who build empires and then move on, and then build another one and move on, who come up with these storylines that are intricate at times and very shallow at others, and then move on to another life. There's so many different ways of explaining it, and when somebody doesn't explain it but still has the moments of, hey, that's kind of weird, guys. It's a little bit weird. You do end up coming up with these concepts. Like, the Warden, that's terrifying. How did they come to be? The creaking now, the Ender Dragon, and how the Enderman came to be. In Minecraft itself, we have a number of these. That's weird, right? That's weird.
Yeah, one of the video topics I want to do at some point in time is this idea of like the creaking and the warden. They're bringing back early Minecraft horror, which like is something we've been lacking the past few updates. And I think it really is allowing, once again, this like niche trope of Eldritch horror to come back into light. It's like, what is the warden? It is a collection of souls made manifest.
It has its chest is full of souls.
You can literally see the souls beating.
Yeah, and you can see it in Soul Sound as well. You can see the souls screaming. Like, in Minecraft, there's some really horror-based things. And so, Keralis, the Minecraft YouTuber, versus Keralis the character, people pulled this horror to it. This... Yeah, he's a little funky. He also went stretch.
Stretch. Yeah, why did we call upon the muse of dance? It's for the 1, 2, 3, stretch. Stretch. I don't know. He also has the dance club, and it's like, I feel like if we're ever gonna have a hermit who's defined by dance, it's gonna be Keralis.
We had to use it at some point.
You know. You know what? Wait, let's circle back to season 8, because if there's ever a season to get the Eldritch Horror umbrella statement, it's gonna be season 8, right?
It is, yeah. Everything from season 8.
Everything about season 8. Like, we have all these people who, like, even before the moon was falling, there was this general vibe of, like, something is weird about this season. We had the Bodum Hole, we had the meteor strike, we had the whole evil empire. Like, everything about season 8 allowed for a very unique conversation within a story.
It did, and I think season 8 specifically really changed how the fandom perceives Hermitcraft, because it did put more lore into it. It did make it so that a number of new people came across it and was like, what's happening? They're building cool bases, and also the moon is falling and gravity is weird.
Yeah, season 8 was a very interesting time because during season 7, we did have that trickle of like Dream SMP fans entering into Hermitcraft fandom, but season 8 was really where you saw that huge tidal wave of people who came from lore and have now found lore. And so I think that's where a lot of this comes from. It's that need of like applying this existing concepts of like lore and drama and angst and pain and the gods and the unknown and connecting it to death specifically that really saw a spike during season 8.
Yeah, and people love the unknown. And when you have a fandom, a series of videos, these seasons of people who do create lore but don't expand upon it, does that make sense? They create a storyline, they create a characterized version of themselves, some closer to the actual personalities than others, but some completely different, and just give it, this is the facts, but we're going to just build these setting about it, but not tell you everything in the story. It creates Eldritch Horror Keralis. It creates, hey, here's a setting, here's a world, here's hints about the character. That's all you get. Go. You create weird little guys.
Weird little guys. And I think, you know what, let's tie this back into Mumbo Jumper really fast. I know we talked about him in the previous episode, but the way his story was being set up before we found out what Mind was doing, I think that would have resulted, like if we didn't get an answer, that would have resulted in a very interesting sort of similar situation, I believe, because it's like when you don't give someone an answer, when you don't give someone an end game, when something just kind of exists, when a town exists with pollution, when a town exists with evil scientists, when a town exists with giant corporations that are clearly doing something, I could have seen this going in a direction of where the fandom starts applying Night Vale logic to it. Are you familiar with... You know what? Night Vale Spooky Podcast was basically a radio station that would tell a fictional story of this town known as Night Vale, and everything about it would be wrong. Everything about it would be weird in some way. And I could totally, like, if we didn't know what was happening with Mumbo Jumbo, I feel like people would have started connecting it to Night Vale.
Absolutely. Well, the fandom already has a strong tie to Night Vale that I could absolutely see that happening. I know they did a similar thing to Green with the Watcher lore. Yes, I'm bringing it up again. but we're talking about eldritch creatures and Hermitcraft. So I know that part of it was that he just stopped the lore. Like, he just kind of ended it and then moved on. And the fandom went, wait, no! Wait! More, please! And created their own storyline. And so you'll see in some of these fan creations with Keralis as an Eldritch Horror, also having Grian as a godly-like being. I believe it's in the one that you were referring to.
It is, yeah.
Keralis
there's a moment where
teaching.
Watcher Grian has to go to Keralis for help, and Keralis goes, good luck with that.
Helps take care of this relatively young godly creature. And they do end up tying together a bit, because same fandom, same groups of people, same concept of was given a platform, information, and then was left alone for too long and came up with weird ideas.
Yeah, you know what? I think the moon crash kind of almost allowed this, because it was such an abrupt ending to season 8. Season 8 was such a short season, and so you're constantly seeing fan fictions of the idea of, like, the hermits escaping that moon crash. What happened in that period between the moon crashed and season 9 starting. And I think the Eldritch Horror Keralis, it has a moment where it tries to explain that of, like, if this Eldritch being was trying to protect people and the moon was falling, what could it do?
I remember a comparison somebody made. I believe it was on some sort of social media. I don't remember which one. But the concept of if a circle of ants started chanting your name, you would of course go over and investigate, whatever. But one of the examples was if one asked, hey, I want this lady to fall in love with me. Can you do something? You don't have the power to do that. Like, you might be so much more powerful, know so many more things than an ant, but you still can't control one ant falling in love with another. So, in this explanation of how to conceptualize Eldritch Horror, they went, okay, and killed every single other ant, because that's the solution they had. So I actually enjoy when these all-powerful beings, they are really not all-powerful, but really powerful, and they can do so many things, and they have knowledge beyond your comprehension. They can't do everything. And sometimes they fail. And guess what? Cry about it, please. Somebody write me some sad things. I want to read some sad.
I want that sad, angsty fan fiction of an all-powerful being failing at having the correct power for the correct situation.
Yeah, that. Thank you for putting words to my...
I want it on my desk by... I was going to say Monday. It is Monday. I want it on my desk by Friday. Give me that fan fiction. Please.
No. I'm busy with other stuff.
I also want that fanfiction and that fanfiction and that fanfiction, and I want all the fanfictions on my desk by Friday.
We would like to explore every single mental playground of concepts, please. Specifically with Keralis being a weird little guy with eyes that are too big.
With eyes too big for him. Too big, who just casually can exist in space and will dance the night away in his panda DJ dance club.
He has seen things. Those eyes have seen things.
I saw a screenshot the other day of it looked like Cleo whispering in Keralis' ear the way they were like posed, and just the look of Keralis' big eyes and dropped mouth. It's like, ooh, Zombie Cleo's dropping some tea.
You remember towards the start of season 10, they exploited XB Crafted's base, and Keralis went flying.
I love
It's
that.
really, really big eyes
This
as he's
is
flying across
okay.
the screen and out of view.
It was. I want that. Like, to me, that is the moment of Keralis. He's going back to space, back to his people.
He's going back. He's going home, everybody. Oh.
Yes, if Eldritch Horrors naturally exist in the Minecraft space, and Keralis is the perfect template because those eyes have seen some things.
They have seen stuff that, we're not allowed to even get into this horror. So bad. Ugh. But also, the horror sometimes is just poultry.
Sometimes the horror is poultry. All right, you ready to move on to the Q&A? Question number 1. What's your favorite kind of rock?
Specifically the sandstone found in Mesa Verde.
Ooh, I really like the type of rock that you find in like red canyon spaces that have very clear layers of like strip of red clay, strip of white clay, and that's been very much solidified into like if you've ever been to Utah, it's those rocks. I like those rocks.
Yeah, some really good sedimentary with defined layers and that kind of stuff is very good. I just really like the sandstone. Specifically, the Mesa Verde ones were the best that I've ever gotten my hands on. That can be shaped into other things, and the way that they've built the houses into the... Oh,
I also really
rocks.
like rocks that glow under UV light. So it's like, yeah, whatever. And then, like, you start messing with, like, your UV face paint. So you turn on your UV light, and suddenly the rock sitting next to you is glowing. I'm like, I didn't realize I had a glowing rock.
A good bismuth is always good, in my opinion.
Bismuth. Yeah.
Obsidian is also a really good choice.
Good rocks.
I prefer the more purplish hue.
Obsidian's technically glass, though. Do we count that as a rock? If obsidian...
Yeah, it's a volcanic.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if you count jet as a rock, and jet is just petrified wood. What is a rock? You know?
Well, it's just the difference between a rock and a mineral.
Yeah, true.
It's what it's made out of. You know, I used to want to be a geologist.
Yeah, I thought about it, but I decided it wasn't quite for me. But you know, I could see a path where I've taken it.
Yeah. I was an autistic little child, and they started giving me textbooks when I was like 6 years old about how rock formations happen.
Oh, the true way to deal with that. Have a textbook. Go
Rocks.
at it.
I really like rocks, and then someone went, do you know what? Do you know what would be fun? First of all, they went Steven Universe, and I went, ooh, rock people. And then they introduced me to Minecraft. There's rocks everywhere.
And it was all downhill from there.
It's true.
All right. Question number 2. Your favorite type of ice cream sandwich?
Is there multiple types of ice cream sandwiches?
There is. So, like, there's, like, the thin sugar cookies ice cream sandwich. There's the thicker chocolate chip types of ice cream sandwich. Do you like it when the cookie is, like, frozen? Or do you like the freshly made ones where the cookie's still soft, but you have, like, that really frozen ice cream?
I don't think of an actual cookie. I think of, like, the thin chocolate.
Oh, you think of, like, the cakey ones.
Yeah, that's what I think of at least.
I don't like those. I'm very much a cookie purist.
I don't know if I've had other kinds then.
Oh, well then I'm breaking into your house and I'm making you ice cream sandwiches.
You could. I would allow it to.
It's the only crime we have here. It's ice cream sandwiches.
I suppose I would like a soft cookie. I've always preferred like a more cakey cookie in general, so I assume I would like those with ice cream as well. Yeah, no, the only thing I can really think of is the chocolate followed by a vanilla center.
Yeah, the polar bear branded one.
The what?
There's a brand of ice cream sandwiches that comes in like a silver wrapper and it has a polar bear as their logo. And it was like, when you think of ice cream sandwich at the store, it's typically that, you know? Do you know what I'm talking about? Is that still a thing?
No.
Hold
No,
on.
you're talking about, actually.
It's cold yike or something.
I suppose I'll have to try that sometime. Sometime when it's not winter.
You know, just cash. Just cash. Middle of winter ice cream sandwich trip. Next question time. If you were an NPC in an open world RPG, what kind of quest would you give the players?
I do fetch quests.
Yeah? Would it be like a multiple fetch quest thing, or would it be like a one and done sort of situation?
No, so this is going to sound a little bit odd. I consider myself more of an NPC than an actual player because I stay fairly stationary, but I do a lot of interactions with people, and so like half my life is this. Yeah, nice to meet you. Can you get me this very, very specific part of a bike? Thank you. Here is 15 pine cones. And then an hour later, hi there, nice to meet you. Can you get me this a glass bottle of this specific proportions? In return, I will give you 3 flower crowns. Like, these are actual trades that I've made before.
I feel like I would be the type of NPC who sat at a desk somewhere and like people would come to me. It's like, what's my daily? Because I can't imagine myself like as a one and done NPC. Like, you have to come and bother me multiple times and I will flood you with information every single time.
Yeah, I could see myself being one of them NPCs that just drops a bunch of lore and then dies.
You're in the back, like, I'm running the front desk, you're in the back of the shop. If anyone ever has a question about like a specific quest I just gave them, they come talk to you, but as a consequence you die immediately.
I immediately die every time, but the next time they come in the building I'm just fine again.
You're just like, yeah, don't worry about it, this one comes back to life every now and then.
You can only talk to me one time before I'm gone. Accurate to real life. But if you come back the next day, I'm fine. But, like, you talk to me once, I leave.
And that was the end of the day. Farewell.
Yeah. It's 2 p.m. end of the day. That's what it is whenever...
2 p.m. nap time, let's go!
Yeah,
now I
go.
really want ice cream sandwich. I do have cookies I made downstairs that are getting a little hard. I might go make ice cream sandwiches.
Do you have ice cream?
I do have ice cream. Do you think I don't have ice cream?
Is that a normal thing to keep in your house?
It is when 90% of the household has depression.
Okay, well, is it not cold?
Oh yeah, no, we just had a snowstorm. But ice cream sandwiches? But ice cream sandwiches.
You are in a rich modern household.
Oh no, I'm freezing at all times. I just made a blanket yesterday. It looks really cozy.
Nice. I just finished my quilt recently.
I'm gonna need a fireplace, a blanket, a dog, and an ice cream sandwich. Thank you and good night.
Sounds good. That's the end of the day.
That'd be it.
You've had your one conversation with me. Goodbye now.
Goodbye. Thank you for listening to this episode of FanDive. We'll be back again next Monday diving into yet another fandom. Have a topic you would like us to cover? Head over to our website, fandive.tumblr.com. There you can also find any episode relevant images and general shenanigans that we get up to. It is Tumblr after all. We're not ashamed of being fans of things.